Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Hi, Rob. Hi, Tracy. The first to arrive. Morning, everyone. Welcome back. It's really good to be here again. Another Social Hub session. That's a virtual voice in the background. I believe that's somebody's screen reader.
Mine.
Oh, it's all right. We're used to it. Yeah, morning, guys. It's really good to see you all. Lots of familiar names, as always. And some new names as well, which is even better, which is great. Yeah, hi, Tracy. Yeah, really good to have you all back. Welcome. Yeah, the AT Social Hub is back with more guests. This year's been brilliant, hasn't it, Stuart? We've sort of we've had it easy so far. We've just been inviting lots of interesting people to come and talk about what they do.
Email.
Yeah, we just do the Steve's got email. Yeah, we just kind of do the initial kind of work now, don't we? And then just let the presenters do the rest. But it's been really good, we had to revamp it because I think we were in a way running out of some content. So this has really changed the social hub, up a gear. I think it's been really good.
Yeah, that's it. You've just let the cat out of the bag there, though, Stuart. That we ran out of material, we ran out of content, so we just had to start inviting.
Well, I mean, we've gotten it.
I'm only kidding.
We could have, moved up. We could have done other things, but again, it just gives it a new freshness, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Sam, rather than listening to me all the time.
This is true.
Thank you very much.
No, you're right. It's great. So far this year we've had some great guests and
more to come.
And more to come.
Yeah.
So Steve, no pressure. Yeah. So this morning we're really pleased to have Steve Nutt with us from Computer Room Services. Yeah, Steve's got so much in his locker to share with us, from Braille transcription to sound recording. Being blind himself as well, Steve is a Brailleist, obviously, and has lots to chat about. So we're very excited to have Steve here with us. Steve, you're actually muted at the moment, so just in case you weren't aware, just want to unmute. But we'll kick off in a few minutes. We'll just let any stragglers join us. But yeah, for all of you that haven't joined us before, perhaps are new, welcome to the Assistive Technology Social Hub. My name's Sam from Sight and Sound Technology, and I'm joined by Stuart Beveridge from Seascape up in Fife. Morning, Stuart.
Good morning.
Morning. And we've got obviously Steve Nutt with us, our guest today from Computer Room Services. So during the session, obviously Steve's going to be chatting about lots and lots of bits and bobs, but today also is an opportunity for you to ask Steve, ask us any questions, share your experiences, challenge the technology that we're chatting about, or see if we can sort of troubleshoot any difficulties or issues that you might be having with your assistive technology or anything else related to assistive tech. Please just put it on the table and we'll do our best to diagnose. Good. So yeah, please use the facilities. Tracy's already popped a good morning in the and John. Good morning, John, in the chat box. So please do use the chat box, but do address any questions, comments to all panelists and attendees, just so that everybody's in on it. But yeah, Alt and Y on a Windows machine will open your chat box. Command and Y on a Mac. Good.
Actually, that's to raise your hand, isn't it? That's not.
I was just testing you there, Steve. Just seeing if you're awake. You see. Thanks, Steve. I always get mixed up. I usually have to ask Stuart Lawler this, but yeah, sorry. Alt and H will open up your chat box. Command and H. Alt and Y will allow you to raise your little virtual hand, and then you can voice your questions or your comments if needed. Good. Well, that's the parish notices out the way. So we may as well do our bi-weekly weather report, Stuart Beveridge. How is it up in Fife? What's going on up there?
Well, it's okay today, but the last few days has been terrible, absolutely terrible.
No.
So it's just rain and it's cold, and So, and my guide dog's at the stage, he's 9 now, and he can't be bothered going out to it. So it's been a bit of a challenge, but it's fine today, and we've been out this morning, so all good, all good.
Ah, good, good. I remember actually just before lockdown, the first lockdown, my last trip up to Fife before they shut the borders, there was massive floods in like Kirkcaldy. Do you remember?
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do indeed. That was a while back, and it caused a lot of damage to
Yeah.
our building.
Yeah, that's
Actually,
right.
hence, so everything's being ripped up in our building at the moment. I think I've mentioned this before.
How close is Seascape to reopening? Just
It's getting there. I mean, the only thing I can say for sure, I mean, it's looking like I won't be back ever at my work full time for well and truly into the foreseeable. That they just don't want too many people in the office, and obviously, having the guide dog is not an issue, but you have to take it into consideration.
Yeah.
So the way it's looking at the moment, home working 3 days a week, and I might be back in the office 2 days a week just for clients, but. So I think everybody's doing the same sort of thing. We are open to an extent because the opticians that we run out of there, that's seen as an essential service, and sometimes it's critical in some ways. So that part's open, but the rest is definitely closed, and I think will be till around at least July. So, is your offices open, Sam? Are they up and running and
Yeah,
people being in and out? Yeah.
Sight and sound has never. We've been very lucky. Yeah, throughout the entirety of COVID, we've been up and running, which is good. Obviously, some of our services are a bit restricted, like our training services. We're still delivering those remotely. We can't deliver them face to face yet, but I've been able to visit people face to face throughout the entire pandemic, which is good. Wearing PPE, of course. What about you, Steve? So obviously, where are you based again, Steve?
Stevenage. They named it after me.
Ah, Stevenage. I know it well. The Gordon Craig Theatre. Great little theatre.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it well.
Yeah. For me, we've been open the same. Debbie's my support worker. She's part of our bubble, which means that she comes in anyway, so she can work for me. So we've been open all the time. We've been traveling a couple of times with PPE, of course, and we're traveling out again on Friday to set up a laptop for a new customer, and so on. But yeah, it's all been going pretty well. The obviously you don't have the exhibitions anymore, but that's not always a bad thing because the cost sometimes of the accommodation and everything else. But the downside to it, of course, is you can't give blind people hands-on unless you go and do personal visits.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's that experience of actually getting it in your hands is irreplaceable, isn't it? You can't, unfortunately, you can't replicate that remotely. But I think everybody's done what they needed to do to survive. Good. Actually, Steve, we've just had a comment in the chat box. John has said that your audio is a bit low. Do you mind just increasing a little bit?
Yep, just bear with me a second.
Thank you.
There we go.
That's
better.
Perfect.
Better?
Yeah, much better.
We can do this. We can do this.
Good. So I think the numbers have steadied a little bit. So we're good to go. Welcome. If anybody's just joined us late, this is the AT Social Hub. It's great to have you all back for another bi-weekly session every other Thursday at 10 a.m. And this week we've got Steve from Computer Room Services. Steve, so obviously I've been with Sight and Sound for a couple of years now, so before pre-COVID, I bumped into a few events and exhibitions, but obviously your reputation in the industry is well cemented.
Steady on.
Yeah. Everybody knows you. Has had some sort of dealings with you
for
at some
better
point.
or worse.
Yeah. No, I'm sure. Usually for better, but it's so it's great to have you with us. And I when I asked you, I loved you sent over your sort of biog, and obviously I've did a bit more research on you. So you're a self-confessed computer geek, is that right? Is that right, Steve?
Yeah. So just a very quick story. In 1980, I was a a bit of a CB freak, you know, when the old CB radios first came out.
Right.
And I was on CB radio one day, and I just happened to say to somebody, do you know, I wish I could use computers like sighted people can, gamers, people like that, you know, play games on them, mess around with computers. And, you know, I didn't have a talking computer in those days. And a chap came on and he said, hello, he said, my name's Chris, how can I help? And I said, what do you mean, how can you help? And he said, well, he said, I work for British Aerospace and I'm a hardware engineer. He said, so computers is my bag, you know, how can I help? And I said, well, you know, and I said to him about blind people using computers. And of course, he'd never really thought about it. And he said, let me go away and think about this. And he came back a week later. He said, give me your phone number and I'll get your address and so on, because I don't do it at public radio and stuff. And he came round to my house and he put this box on the table with a keyboard. And I turned it on and it said, hello, Steve. And I thought, crikey, what's this? You know, it sounded a bit robotic, but it said, hello, Steve. And it was actually a Texas Instruments TI-499A computer. I'll never forget that. And I've still got it somewhere.
Wow.
And it had 16K of memory, and it had a 5.25-inch floppy disk. And he'd written a screen reader for it.
Wow.
He'd actually written a screen reader for it. Right.
Was it the size of your house?
No, it was small. It was actually quite small. It plugged into a regular TV.
Oh, all right.
So it didn't have a monitor. It plugged into a regular TV.
Yeah.
And basically what he'd done is he bought this thing, and it had a speech synthesizer, and it was made really for games. You know, it said things like onwards and upwards, you know, things like that. And the speech, it was written in machine code, which is really, really complicated programming language. It's really deep, assembler. And he wrote the screen reader so that the voice would speak. We couldn't have it echoing keys and things like that, but it would speak words. So every time you pressed enter, it would speak the line that you just typed, basically.
Yeah.
And it read me anything that came out on the screen. And he'd written, it had what they call an extended basic cartridge, which meant that you could type the word say instead of print. So if you said say quotes, hello Sam quotes, it would actually say it. It would send it to the synthesizer and it would speak it. So we started adapting PC games from that, you know, modifying them so that they would speak. And that was my first experience of computers, and that's what really got me going in it. And he's now retired from BA, but he still works for me ad hoc as a computer engineer, and he also fixes my Braille displays and things like that. And we've been friends since.
Brilliant.
That's why I say I'm a self-confessed geek, because he got me into this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I know there was the Apple IIe around in those times in 1979 and all that, but I had no experience of it. And we funny enough, we then approached RNIB in those days and said, look, you know, I'm using a computer like this, and they really weren't interested. You know, can't use computers, you're blind, you know, that kind of thing. You know. So I've been using computers since 1980. And since then, I really love the training and support. So, you know, getting into kind of what we do. When Computer Room Services started up, I used to work for an insurance company as a typist, and then I was a programmer. And then in 1996, I got made redundant. But before that, I had a bulletin board. I don't know if anyone remembers bulletin boards. And they used to, you know, you could share shareware with them and things like that. And the bulletin board was called the computer room, because it all happened here in the computer room, which is where we are. And when I started up my business, I said, what shall I call the business? You know, and Angie said Computer Room Services. And to be honest, that's been a bit of a double-edged sword, because Computer Room Services suggests that we only deal with people with computers, and of course that isn't, you know, not true by any means. I mean, you know, we sell products now that are really low technology, like talking clocks and calculators and things, right up to Braille displays and higher end technology and things like that. So I have a poster somewhere which we put up when we go to exhibitions. It says there's more to us than computers, you know, which is true. So the name has been a bit of a double-edged sword to me, because people think that we just deal with computers. But, you know, it is what it is, and I don't want to change it because it's a known brand now. You know, it's a known thing.
Yeah.
So I started when I got made redundant. I started off as a Braille transcriber. I got myself an embosser. Started as a Braille transcriber, and we also used to sell novelty goods and that from Speak to Me in America. There were a company in America from Ann Morris Enterprises as well. They were things that they used to sell talking toys, you know, like talking tennis rackets and things like that, which a lot of blind people seem to like. And so we started off doing all that kind of stuff. And then I got into computer training, and then I got into I used to be Window Eyes training because there weren't anyone else really that trained in Window Eyes. That was my favorite screen reader at the time. Now Window Eyes is gone, so I've now got into JAWS training, and we now do NVDA training and Supernova training and Guide Connect training. And every time I have to do training on a particular screen reader, I think, Alan, what's the keystroke for that screen reader? So,
yeah, we do support other screen readers, by the way. But although Sight and Sound, obviously, we do provide yours.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But there are others on the market. No, obviously, yeah. NVDA, especially. I know that you're an avid NVDA user, aren't you, Steve?
I am, yeah. I mean, I'm also an avid JAWS user because there are some really, really cool JAWS scripts that you can't do with NVDA.
Yeah.
So I always say that blind people should have a couple of screen readers in their arsenal of tools, because you can get a website that isn't accessible with JAWS in Chrome, and then when you go into NVDA, it works beautifully, you know.
Yeah.
So it's handy to know a bit about, you know, all that's out there and things like that. So I use JAWS, but I also think that for the average home user, and I, again, you know, present company accepted, I think JAWS is too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know, if you have to pay 7 times as much for JAWS as a monitor, that's crazy, right?
It's a huge
JAWS is about 700 quid, you know. So that to me doesn't make sense. You know, that's not giving the same access as a sighted person would have, you know. And that's really why I've embraced NVDA and Narrator as well, because Narrator's getting very good. And interestingly, Doug Jeffrey, who used to work for Window Eyes, is now lead programmer at Microsoft, and he works on Narrator. So Window Eyes code is creeping in, I'm sure of it, because it's getting really good. So that's where I am. I'm screen reader agnostic. I don't have a particular favorite screen reader. I have favorite screen readers for favorite tasks, if you know what I mean.
And for anyone that isn't aware, Narrator is the built-in screen reader for Windows 10. So if anybody's new to that and just wants to experiment with it, you can access that just by the settings. And NVDA is a free screen reader that you can download online. And the other thing that's really exciting to me is that you can do a complete Windows reset with speech. You can actually completely reinstall Windows with Narrator with Narrator running, and that is really good. Microsoft have done that really well. And so things are looking good as far as where screen readers are concerned. Definitely.
So I do support and I do training on computers. We also do custom built laptops. We have a company called PC Specialist build our laptops. And we have no bloatware on them. We have nothing on them but Windows 10. And I then install the screen reader of choice for the customer. So if you've got a copy of JAWS, we can install it for you and also activate it. If you give us our 20-digit activation code, we can activate JAWS so that it all comes up talking for you when we send it out to you. So we do that kind of thing as well.
Great.
I also run my own podcast, which is a hobby thing I do, which is called Our Place. And you can find it at www.ourplace-podcast.info. And that started me on post-production and editing and stuff like that, because I got really interested in sound editing and playing around with sound and various things like that. And so now one of the things I do is I restore old recordings. So if you've got a recording that's crackly, we can restore it if it's on record or electronically. So if if you've got a bad recording and it's a WAV file, we can try and restore it. I love doing that kind of thing. And now, in the last couple of years, I've learned about Reaper. And Reaper, for those who don't know, is a digital audio workstation. And I'm using Reaper at the moment to attend this meeting because I'm going through a mixing desk, which meant that I could just turn the volume up like I did. And of course, Reaper is a full-blown post-production editing multi-track piece of software. And with the right plugins and, accessibility, and there are JAWS scripts for it, and there's, and it works well with NVDA and things like that, you can do post-production. So in fact, what I'm doing now is I'm using Reaper Live as an outboard processor. So what that means is I can control any effects. So if I just silent for a second, you hear absolute silence. But if I take off my noise gate, which I've got invoked, you'll hear the noise of our computers in the office. So now you can hear the computer noise. So I'll turn the gate back on, and we can also do things like effects and things like that. So we can go into a cave and do things like that with post-production and things like that.
So it sounds like my office most of the time. Steve, that's brilliant.
And you can do this live with Reaper. You can't do that live with IE Goldwave, SoundForge, Studio Recorder, and so on. So although I've got a hardware mixer and things like that, I'm actually using the effects on Reaper. And all of this to say that if you want to do your own podcast, for example, we can either do the post-production for you, or we can train you to do it yourself. So I can teach you to, provided you're dedicated enough and you want to learn a sound editor and things like that and things, you can learn Reaper. And in fact, I'm still learning Reaper every day. I've had it for about 2 years and I'm still learning it. So you can get as simple or as complicated as you want. The other good thing about Reaper is it's non-destructive. So you're not actually editing the original WAV file. If you import a file to SoundForge, Goldwave, Studio Recorder, you're actually operating on that file. But what you're doing with Reaper is you're importing that file into a project, and it just grabs a copy of the original file, and that's what you're working on. So it's completely non-destructive. You're not actually playing with the original file, which is really cool as well. All of that, as I say, we do Reaper training and Reaper support and stuff. And if you want to find out more about Reaper, you can go to www.reaper.fm to download the program, and you can download a free evaluation, which is 60 days, which is really generous. And then it's £60, I think, to buy it. And then, or you can go to www.reaperaccessibility.com to find out what this great community have done for Reaper to make it accessible. And Jamie Tay, TEH, his surname is, who co-wrote NVDA, he's also wrote an accessible add-on for Reaper called Osara, which is open source access to Reaper accessibility. And if you install that plugin as well, then Reaper really comes to life for any screen reader. And it's fantastic. And there is a fantastic list as well, email list. I love the name of it as well. It's called Reapers Without Peepers. Love it. So that's I'm a fan of Reaper, no doubt about it. So that you can do things like that. So we do also support now, general computer support. So if you get a computer error, or your computer boots up but it doesn't speak or something like that, sometimes of course, with your permission, we can remote into a computer and repair it, fix it. So we don't have to come to you to fix it or, do that. And we do one-offs. We do one-off computer fixing of particular issues. And we also do contract work where you pay an amount per year, and we can come in every quarter and update your drivers and make sure all your things are up to date, your Windows is up to date and everything else. So you don't have to worry about that. We can do all that for you as well. So that's the kind of things that we do. And of course, we've got some 180 products on the website now that we sell as well. And we try and fully support them. And any product that we sell has to work for me, and I'm totally blind. So it should work for any level of sight. I hope that's true anyway. And we, so that's what we do. So that's really an overview of computer room services. So I'm pretty much done now as far as demo and presentation. So if anyone's got any questions, hit me.
Steve, can I just, on the product range,
Yeah.
and it's I think it's quite safe to say that you have I checked it on the website, a seriously varied range of over 180 products. That there's mobile phones, but then that there's things that's very specialist, such as the Navi belt. I'm sure you have a very, very cheap voice recorder, which is a really good alternative to something like the Olympus. So
Yeah.
honestly, anybody who's interested, take a look at Steve's website if you have a good few spare minutes, because the range and the the variety of products on that website is unbelievable. So,
and I hope it's fully accessible, and if it isn't, let us know, because I go out of my way to develop it, because I develop the website as well. And Debbie here pretties it up for me. She makes sure all the pictures look nice and things like that, but I try and make it accessible. Debbie labels all the pictures, so you get an idea of what the alt text on the pictures, and what it is. So there shouldn't be anything there on the website that isn't accessible, and if there is, please let us know.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. No, it's Stuart's right. There's a real sort of treasure trove of products on there, such a range.
It's hard to keep up with them.
Yeah, I bet. No, but it's brilliant. And just going back to the sound recording quickly as well, because I know that within the social hub, we've covered this topic a couple of times. Stuart Beveridge has demonstrated Gold Wave for us. Stuart Lawler's just joined us. Morning, Stuart. And Stuart's demonstrated a studio recorder for us, and we actually did we had a build your own podcast session last month, which went down really well. But for anybody that does have an interest in sound recording, or maybe would like to get into it, please do experiment with the software. I mean, as Steve said, Reaper, it's incredibly accessible, isn't it, Steve? And
and if you ever want a demonstration of Reaper, just let me know and I'll come and do it. I mean, you've already had a bit of a demonstration of Reaper because you've heard me processing effects live. Yeah.
Definitely. So anybody that's interested in sound recording or building your own podcast, and we've had quite a bit of interest already in Our Place, Steve. So I've popped a link in the chat box there.
Thank you.
I'll get that going.
Our Place is just me and Angie blogging. It's Angie's my wife, and she's also blind, and it's kind of a monthly. Used to be weekly, but we don't get enough content, especially since lockdown, because we don't travel or anything like that. So it's really two blind people and what they get up to, both of whom are interested in gadgets.
Right. Oh, brilliant. Well, no, we'll certainly we'll promote that for you. That sounds sounds brilliant. And also going back to your sort of your life before computer room services. Talking about your fascination with that first computer that you plonked on your desk. Norman said, in the loosest sense of the word, almost everything now has a computer in it, which I suppose is true, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the same guy, Chris. I mean, he's really imaginative and being an engineer, and he's recently built me a USB tester, and basically the idea is that you plug in a device into it, like a phone that you want to charge, and you can tell what the voltage and the milliamps are coming out of the device. And that helps me to test things like Braille displays if they're not charging for any reason and things like that. And I think he bought one on Amazon and reverse engineered it, made it talk for me, and he used an Arduino to make it talk, which is a tiny computer. You know, and it talks. It's a pretty robotic voice. It's like a 1980s voice, but you know, it's like a £5 computer, you know, that you can buy on Amazon. And you know, you just put it in a box, and apparently it's got some speech libraries, so he made it talk for me.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. No, that is fascinating. I remember when I sort of had my interview for this job, actually, and I was completely new to the industry, so assistive technology I didn't have any knowledge of at all. So when I was doing my research and into the company and into the sort of the world of assistive technology, I started reading a lot about, you know, some of the sort of pioneers like Ray Kurzweil and Dean Blasey, and you know, sort of, you know, how they're sort of the first reading machines came to the fore, you know, that were the size of football pitches pretty much initially.
Well, I used to love Patrick Perdue, a guy in the States. I don't know if anyone knows, but he used to do things like make Deck Talk sing. So he used to make synthesizers like Deck Talk sing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing.
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's true. I mean, they you know, they sort of started like the size of washing machines, these reading machines, didn't they? Now they've sort of, now we have these handheld tiny text-to-speech devices, which is amazing. Good. We've got lots of comments coming in. Yeah, Reaper. The price of Reaper is attractive. £60, you said, didn't you, Steve?
Yeah. Well, $60.
Oh, $60.
About £50. Yeah.
£50. That's, you know, yeah.
And,
I mean,
you then pay the same again, I think, for a major upgrade, and you know, the major upgrades come out every year to 18 months.
Right.
I'm talking about 6 to 7, 7 to 8, not 6 to 6.1, and so on.
Yeah.
But it's. I don't sell Reaper, by the way. I'm just a very happy user of Reaper.
Yes. Okay.
And I should say that, but I fully support Reaper. And also, the company who make Reaper, Cocos, they actually are on the or they monitor the Reapers Without Peepers list, and they make changes to the interface to make it even more accessible. So that's really good.
Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you. Liz has just asked, actually, that's quite an interesting one, Liz. We can pretty much get a talking anything now, but Liz has asked, is there such a thing as a talking battery tester? You know, to see if there's any juice left in your AA's or your AAA's. Do you know if anything like that exists?
The answer is not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Not yet. Yeah.
The answer is not yet. Now, why I'm saying that is there is an audible battery tester, and that's from CareTech, and we sell that. So it just beeps. It does different beeps to tell you how much voltage you've got in your battery.
Okay.
So it doesn't talk. It just makes beepy noises.
Yeah.
But Chris and I are looking at building a talking battery tester with an Arduino or something like that in it. But you know, don't hit us too hard for the quality of the voice, because you know you've got to get it into a small box.
Yeah. So it's a work in progress, that one, Liz.
And also, you can't get good TTS for free. So you know, because you'd have to pay the TTS licenses, and the battery tester would cost a fortune. You know.
Of course.
Yeah,
we're looking at it.
It's an interesting one about the quality of the voice, Steve, because I know people I've worked with who are blind, you know, clients and things, who they are really, really particular about the sound of voices. But for me, it's always been, look, if the thing does the job, I don't care if the voice sounds robotic. I just want it to do what it's meant to do. But you know, again, it's great. That's why, you know, our job is, you know, every day is different, because everybody hits you with different, you know, problems and views, don't they? So
so my USB tester, for example, which this is the only one in the world, sounds like this. So it says 4.11 volts, but that's all I need.
Wow, yeah. I mean,
this is a guy who's had nothing to do with blindness other than with me. That's just used a bit of imagination and built it. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Thanks, babe. So yeah, it's really cool, and it's such a useful product for me because I'm testing a lot of equipment, and I saw them on, as I say, I saw them on Amazon for about 15 quid, and he said to me, get one, and I'll reverse engineer it and see if we can make it talk, and he did. So, so that's really cool. But any products that you think, I wish there was X, then by all means shoot me an email or give me a ring, because if we get an idea, you never know, we might build it.
There you go, everyone. You heard it here first. If you've got any questions there, fire them over at Steve and his team and see what they come up with.
You never know. We can't promise, but you never know.
The social hub could be the guinea pig. We could be the testing hub.
Absolutely.
But that's an interesting topic. Thank you, Liz, for opening that up. Norman has said that the RNIB used to sell this talking battery tester, but it was discontinued years ago.
Did they?
Apparently.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Norman. So we'll stay close to that one. John has also said. Oh, hang on. What have we got here? Okay. Sorry, not talking. Norman said it just beeped the RNIB.
Yeah, it's the same
version.
one that we sell now. It's the CareTech one. We still sell it. RNIB didn't stopped it for some reason.
There you go. Yeah. Well, there you go then, Liz. So there is a beeping battery tester at the minute,
and a vibrating one too. They've got a tactile one as well, for the deaf, blind, and things like that. Yeah. Perfect.
Well, there you go, Liz. So you can find that on Steve's website, Computer Room Services. Good. John's obviously, John, you've attended our session a couple of months back now, where we had the team from WeWalk with us, and John has asked if anybody's purchased a WeWalk cane yet. Have you come across WeWalk, Steve? Have you had any interaction with WeWalk?
Yeah, when it first came out, I think it was about 2017. I think I saw it at Site Village.
Yeah.
And in that, in them days, the app wasn't so well developed, but now it is.
Yeah.
And it seems a good idea to me. It's basically GPS built into a cane. So you've got a connection to your phone, and the trouble is I don't know any blind people. Well, I know one blind person that's got it. That's all.
Yeah.
I approached them about it, probably, with a view to maybe selling it, and they never came back to me. So they obviously don't need the money.
Well, yeah.
Interesting, because at the charity I work for, Seascape up here in Fife, I mean, as somebody that's totally blind like yourself, Steve, we had a conversation about this actually. I mean, I went to them for weeks on end. Can I just send me a demo version and let me test it? And I'll, I would have promoted this at, with our rehab workers and, user groups, and we'll send you one, and nothing has came of it. So, as I said to Steve, I've just given up on it. I just don't have the time to keep emailing them with no response. So,
as I understand it, Stuart, they're selling it around the UK because they got a warehouse in London. So somebody told me that they're actually shipping them from London. So you get it in a couple of days. So they must have warehouses in countries rather than selling it via dealers. But that doesn't get you any support, does it?
And that's the kicker, isn't it? Is that they don't have any tech support based in the UK. It's either in Istanbul or America, I think. So it's tricky, but brilliant device. It's just at the moment it doesn't seem that it's sort of the support's reliable enough. But
incidentally, a very good device which I use, heaven forbid anything happens to my guide dog, but A very good device which has stood the test of time in terms of a cane is the Ultra cane, which doesn't have a sat nav in it, but what it does have is very good obstacle detection, both at ground level and head height level. So I use the Ultra cane a lot when I'm, even if my guide dog is free running, because it means because of the obstacle detection, I don't need to, I don't hit anything, using a normal cane. I can just, walk around it because it vibrates when, I'm coming near an obstacle. And in terms of where the cane is pointing, you'll feel the vibration of whether it's at low level or head height. So I can just walk around obstacles without hitting them at all now, using the Ultra cane. So it's not as anywhere as sophisticated as the WeWalk, but my goodness, it does a good job as well.
Yeah, my only problem with the Ultra cane for me was it's too heavy. I did, because I have a very light wrist action. So I didn't like it because it was too heavy. But that was my only problem with it. I thought the concept was really good. And we wondered why, because, Chris and I wondered, because I got one, why the box was so big, just for a couple of vibrate motors.
Yeah.
But it just shows you.
Morning, Sam and Stuart and Steve. It's the other Stuart here.
Hi, Stuart.
Morning, Stuart.
Morning. Always great to hear Steve. So great.
Become a regular.
Steve is becoming a fixture at Sight and Sound webinars. Yeah.
That's it. We're going to have to start paying him a salary. I mean,
we're delighted to have Steve. I suppose I just wanted to come back on the WeWalk, because we got, I think, actually at the session that Steve was at last week, at our session, there was some similar feedback to people who were trying to contact WeWalk and not getting any response. So it's a pity to hear that. But
you were looking at Navibelt, weren't you, last week?
We were, yeah, and we got lots of reaction to Navibelt too. So I hope you got a few inquiries from that, Steve.
We did, certainly, yeah.
Good.
Thank you. It's always good to come on these and the webinars, and it's nice. I was saying to Sam this morning, it's nice to talk about Reaper as well, because
absolutely
not many people use it, and it's probably a bold claim, but I'd say it's probably the most accessible sound editor out there if you want precision.
It's really interesting, because I know people who use it who absolutely love it. It's just something that I have not. I'm a very single track editor person, but it's definitely, I've seen it.
Yeah, single track's good, Stuart. But the thing I like about Reaper most is it's non-destructive. You're not editing the original file.
Yeah.
So you're importing it into a project. So that to me is just cool, because you can always go back to the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the multi-track element is really good, because you can overlay music with. I was teaching a lady the other day something called side chaining.
Oh yeah.
And that is where you send one track to another, and you put a compressor on the second track, so it ducks audio automatically when you talk.
Yep.
Things like that, which you can't do with single track editors. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of tools in there. Lots of.
It's really cool.
Definitely. It was always I did. I studied music technology at school, and obviously as a sighted person, but Audacity and Sibelius were the two sort of
Sibelius,
main programs that I used. But obviously that's more for music.
Logic
input.
Pro as well.
Yeah.
Reaper's more for music as well.
Yeah.
You do all that with music. But
any musicians in the room? Good.
Reaper comes with a lot of stock effects as well, and a lot of EQ and a lot of plugins.
Yeah.
By default, you don't have to buy anything else.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I think we've certainly flown the Reaper flag this morning, which is great. So, Steve, I'm interested to know what's to come for Compute Room Services. So, how does the next how does post lockdown look? I mean, will we be able to see you at events? Is there any new products on the horizon that
I'm certainly at the Site Village event. August is the next one, I think, isn't it? If they do it, and I think they should do it, because after June, I think most of the easing is gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they should be able to do the August site village. So I assume I'll see you there, Sam.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
With any luck. So we'll be there 17th and 18th of August in Brum.
Yeah.
You'll see Debbie and I. Angie usually stays at home and keeps the home fires burning.
Yeah.
There is only 3 of us. There's Angie, my wife, and Debbie, who's the only sighted lady in the business, and she looks after all the graphics and stuff for me, and
Great.
does all the filing for me and the reading the handwriting bits that I can't always read and things like that. Because however much technology you've got, it doesn't always read handwriting, because handwriting can be so bad, can't it?
That's it. Yeah, it's a tricky one. We've just taken on Envision this year, which I know Stuart Beveridge is a avid user, which can read handwriting.
It can,
yeah, but obviously it needs to be legible. It won't read my scroll. But
I'm interested in SuperSense at the moment. What they're doing.
Yeah, brilliant.
You see Super LiDAR and things like that.
Yeah, I've been testing. I've been having a play around with SuperSense, the app,
and they read handwriting better than Envision, I have to say.
Yeah.
SuperSense does. Yeah.
Super LiDAR's only available on the
iPhone.
Is it iPhone
12 Pro?
12 Pro. Yeah.
But, I bought a 12 Pro to get into SuperSense, because I think SuperSense, if they ever put SuperSense on glasses, I think that's going to be really good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Check those 2 apps out, anybody, if you're interested. SuperSense and Super LiDAR.
They've gone way beyond Apple, haven't they? Because they actually detect objects as well as people.
Yeah. Which helps.
Yeah,
definitely. No, they're an exciting sort of company. Yeah, good. John said, we hope there is a site village later this year. Yeah, so do we, John. Fingers crossed. Site village Birmingham was actually my first. I joined the company in July, and site village was my introduction to these exhibitions, and it was a baptism of fire. It was
previous Emma, my previous support worker, did that. She joined like June, end of June time, and then she got hit by site village.
It was chaos. I remember as well, because again, brand new to the industry. Obviously, there's guide dogs everywhere, and I went outside just to have a chat with somebody, and there was this little sort of gazebo with some like astroturf and a few bins around it, and I thought, that must be the smoking area, but turns out that was the guide dog pit stop if they needed a wee. I had no idea that this existed, that the guide dogs got their own little section outside. It was brilliant. But yeah, Site Village Birmingham is a brilliant event, but it's there's lots going on. So fingers crossed it all comes off. Good. And so Steve, I visit lots and lots of people as well, who I'm always fascinated to know what assistive technology they're using, or have been playing around with in the past, and pretty much anybody that I go and see said they bought a phone from Steve Nutt. Pretty much everybody.
Yeah, because of Talks. Yeah, I mean, that was a golden egg for me when Talks was out.
Yeah.
I mean, we sold 100 in the first year, I think. And like 150 quid for Talks before you had a phone, so that was pretty good. And the guy who wrote Talks, in fact there were 2 guys, there was Torsten Brand and Marcus Grober. Torsten died in 2005, 6, 7, something like that. He died, and Talks was still on development, and Marcus carried on with it, and we had to stop it eventually because Nokia stopped the phones in about 2016. So if you install Talks now, you have to actually put the date back on the phones. Wow. So you can install it, because the certificate ran out, the security certificate, so Nokia won't let you install it no more. Right. But we do sell Android phones as well, we sell Google Pixels and things. but we also sell iPhones. So we're not like RNIB. We didn't just get into bed with Apple.
I know, yeah, yeah, they kept that quiet, didn't they?
Yeah, I went, you know, RNIB are supposed to be impartial, and then they just sell Apple. Well, there you go.
What I found was very
Get me on.
strange
Money
with
talks.
the
Money talk.
RNIB.
Yeah. Sorry, Stuart?
Sorry, I was actually just, there was somebody at my door there. I've just been taking a delivery of the, I don't know if you know, Sam, there's a new case out for the Envision glasses. Just
I got mine this morning.
Yes, there's mine through as well. But no, sorry, what I was going to say, it feels really cool actually. Anyway, right, back on track. What I was going to say was, the RNIB, I've been speaking to them about the Apple, you know, selling of the iPhones. And they'll sell them fine, but they won't actually help you through the initial setup process. And I found that really, I mean, honestly, the amount of people up here, clients, you know, taking that first step to, you know, setting the initial iPhone up, you know, with their Apple ID and, you know, going through all the steps, because they don't know what each stage means.
That's right.
And I just thought that is a really, really odd business model.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right word, but yeah, I just found it really odd. Anyway.
Strange.
Agreed. Yeah. No,
but you know, we're not in bed with anyone, so we sell Google and Apple.
Yeah.
Because we find those two are the most accessible now in terms of phones.
Yeah.
We don't sell Samsung because I find there's too much bloatware on Samsung, and I find that some bits are duplicated. So you've got Chrome and you've got Samsung Internet.
Yeah.
And you think, why the heck?
Different screen readers on
just
there.
Confusing.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, they've got rid of it now. They're using TalkBack.
Oh, so they got rid of their voice.
Yes, if you go
thing, yeah.
If you go to Android 11 on a Samsung, then voice assistant is gone. And it's because Google now do multi-finger gestures.
Of course.
So that's the only reason Samsung held back, is that Google didn't do multi-finger gestures, and they do now.
Right.
So,
do do Synaptic software as well then, Steve, as a matter of interest?
No. And it's the reason I don't is because I actually think it's reinventing the wheel for more money. Right.
Yeah.
So, without wishing to kind of hurt anyone's feelings, Samsung is basically just Synaptic is just a glorified home screen, you know, because now Android has got magnification in it as well, and things like that. You could pretty much do Synaptic on a regular phone with TalkBack. You know, the only difference is that Synaptic has got some settings like where you double tap the keyboard and things like that. But you can also install third-party keyboards like Blind Accessibility Keyboard to get round of it, and they cost about £4. I considered that Synaptic was too expensive. It's like 190 quid, you know, on top of the phone. And so we're going back to the Talks days, aren't we? You know.
Oh, I remember Talks.
What we want is, like I said to you earlier, Sam, we want parity with sighted people as far as we can. You know. So anything that you can already do, you know, why pay extra to do it different, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
I'd sooner train someone to use TalkBack and magnification than to put something different on it. And then what you then find is Synaptic doesn't do what they want to do, so they have to download a different phone app, come out of Synaptic to do what they want to do, and then go back into it.
I think it's all about horse, as we say a lot, Sam, isn't it? I mean, it's horses for courses, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah.
But
I'm very much into the same UI or user interface as sighted people where we can, you know.
Yeah, we've actually got a couple of people that would like to voice their questions, if that's all right. Yeah. So we've got Arthur first. Morning, Arthur.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
You all right?
Just a comment. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, Sam.
Good.
Looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah. We've got Envision and the Suno band to set up.
My ears pricked up when I heard Stuart speak about the new Envision case.
Yes. Yes. We'll sort you out, don't worry.
Yeah. It's a comment really, rather than the question, Steve. Your comments the comments discussed just now in terms of the iPhone and an RNIB not providing training support for setup, this sort of thing. I suppose it depends where you live, but my experience over the past 12-18 months with Apple, I bought a new SE back end of last year, upgraded to a new SE, and I was very, very impressed. I live in the Manchester area, so let's say one of the Apple shops in the Greater Manchester area I went to, and they actually have properly trained accessibility awareness staff, and I found the whole process of buying the phone, and they set it up for me, transferred all the data from my previous phone, and then basically put some of the basic accessibility settings into it to get me started. In fairness, I've used an iPhone now for about 4 years, so I'm totally capable with it. But again, you've still got the barrier when you get a new one of getting it operating, so you can then take over from that point. And my experience was very good. So I would say, as far as the Apple stores are concerned, if you're lucky enough to be in an area where Apple have got an awareness, then the whole experience has changed dramatically over the past couple of years for me in terms of the support you can get.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I've been to Apple stores and, kind of tested them on accessibility, and they've been pretty good, and because I always set my own phones up because I like playing,
Well, I think we all do once we know what we're doing.
Yeah. So I've never actually needed help from Apple, but I've actually watched them in action, and they've been really good. And so I can't argue with that, Arthur. I must say that their own support is good, but it's quite interesting.
Well, and just as a final comment, Sam, once you've got that basic access, or your basic training that you get, if you're lucky enough to find someone like Stuart, who gives the basic training. I mean, the society I'm involved with, Henshaw's in Greater Manchester, they have specialists as well, as Sam, who provide this basic IT training, which gets people along the road. And after that, there's nothing to compare with learning yourself as you go along.
I wish Hertfordshire Society had the same. I think if Heart Society had anything to do with it, we'd still be weaving baskets. But there you go.
Yeah, Henshaw's are doing some great work up there. So yeah, good. Thank you, Arthur. And we'll see you next week for Envision and Sunu activity.
I see Sunu's updated their app again, haven't they? They're doing all kinds of interesting stuff now. They're doing different vibrations for different object types.
Yes.
If I could just come back in, if I'm still unmuted.
Yeah. Go for it.
Just again, a further comment to support what Stuart has said. I've been a user of Ultracane for 9-10 years now, as a specific, although it's limited because I suppose it's dated now in terms of its scope as compared to alternatives coming on the market, like WeWalk, but I mean it's fantastically accurate, in terms of allowing you to navigate even in shops and around obstacles and around areas where there's a lot of people walking around. It's an excellent device. It's just that now there are other alternatives which offer a lot more scope and range of options for you.
Yeah, it's another Ultracane. It's yours is packed up, hasn't it, Arthur?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I could probably get it repaired, but I suspect by the time I spent, what I would need to do, in fairness, to get the thing up and running again, it's had a bit of a rough ride over the last 9 or 10 years. I'd be halfway to buying a Sunu band or something similar to provide me with that function. But then you're getting extra features in the same device.
Yeah, I mean, just talking of the Sunuband, Arthur, I do have one. I was so impressed with Diego when he came on to our webinar, and I use it with a guide dog, so it's a wee bit different. Obviously, the guide dog is my preferred, thing instead of the cane, but I find it really good for when in shops, especially when knowing when people are in front of you, for navigating queues. The amount of times I think I've said this before, the amount of times I inadvertently jumped the queue and went to the head of the queue when I should have been a good few people back is staggering. So I am using the Sunuband for that, and also for finding the level crossing poles, the green man crossing poles when you need to press the button. So you could be quite creative with it. I think you'll enjoy, working with Sam on the Sunuband, and it's so customizable. It's unbelievable. It's untrue. They've really put a lot of work into it. So I hope you enjoy working with Sam on that.
When I first got my Sunuband, I was practicing walking through doors without touching them.
Yes, I've done that.
You can do things like that, Yeah.
Well, having walked into a door the other day, I'm looking forward to getting mine.
No, it's a super device.
But I think as Stuart has said, and Steve, I'm sure you would confirm. I mean, if you've used something before, like an Ultra Cane or something which provides you with that sensor and feedback, then you can transfer the skills, a lot of the skills that you would use, like being able to track as you go around corners or go around bends in roads and things like this on the footpath. You can just pick it up and track yourself around the corner. And these things, it's just like any other device. Once you've got that information, you see lots of other opportunities to develop the use of a new device where it's got the same principle.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's exciting stuff, Arthur. We'll certainly, we'll get creative next week with Sunu, and we're looking forward to it.
I will say to Stuart that I'm relying on your recommendations, Stuart, as I said to Sam last week.
Oh no pressure.
We'll give you a ring next week, Stuart.
Well, I'm always here to help. No matter if you're in Fife or England, that anyway, Sam. I do agree with Steve. I'm, as I said, I'm completely blind as well, and I would not be recommending a product if I wasn't using it every day or thought it was any good. Then I wouldn't recommend it. So I'm trying to get myself out of this one.
You've set yourself up there. Stuart?
Yeah, my go-to is his Sunuband as well, I must say.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. There you go then, Arthur. You got 2 endorsements. Good stuff. Well, thanks again, Arthur. And we'll see you next week. Oh, you still with us, Arthur?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, as I say, I'm looking forward to it, and
good.
I'm sure I'll pick the skill up reasonably quickly.
Definitely. Okay, doke. Thanks, Arthur. All right. Now we've also got Liz who'd like to ask a question. Morning, Liz. You just want to unmute yourself. You can ask away.
Am I unmuted now?
You are. Good morning.
Good morning. First question I had was to do with whether there are any tips for navigating around Zoom meetings and Teams meetings and things. But the other question, which has arisen during the morning, at the moment I've got one of these phones from, I suppose it was Nokia, about 10 or 12 years ago, I think. It's still working. It's got talks on it. I'm totally blind. And it's quite it does what I need it to do, but I was wondering whether it would be worth going to something a bit smarter, perhaps getting I think there's something called the Blind Shell Classic, and I've tried to put that message on the chat box, but I don't know whether I put it in or not. Whether you have any knowledge or advice about a Blind Shell Classic? I was thinking of getting it from Cobalt. RNIB.
I'll let you take
Don't
it, Steve,
now.
because I know you sell it. So
Wash your mouth out, Liz. You should get it from us, not Cobalt.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should get it from computer room services.
Indeed. Yeah. Because I'm
Yeah.
blind and we can offer you, I think, better support. But there you go.
Yes. Oh,
So
right.
yes.
Yes.
We sell the Blind Shell Classic. There's also the Blind Shell Classic Lite as well.
Right.
So the Blind Shell Classic Lite is if you just want a phone for texting and calling
Yes.
and various things like that. The Blind Shell Classic has all of that, but it also has internet email. It has a little web browser, which is quite nice. And it also has, email, texting. It has a couple of games. It's got Hangman, which I'm addicted to.
yeah.
And it's got a few things like that. It's got a very clear voice. It's a nice, clear Google style voice.
Mhm.
And I would say there's not a lot bad to say about it. It's got very nice buttons. The buttons are easy to feel. Have you
That's
seen?
absolutely essential, isn't it, for blind people? Well, for me
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd get on with gestures somehow.
Yeah. So it's got a very simple menu system. So when you press the menu system, shall we do let's see if there's any battery in my, there we go. Yes,
Just
there is.
to say, Liz, it does have voice activation as well.
It
so
does,
you can
yeah.
dictate your texts and
It plays
and
that music when you turn it on.
Yep, that's a turn on. Yep. Sam, you might want to help on the Minivision side as well, if just as another alternative on this.
Absolutely. I know Steve also provides the Minivision, but yeah, happy to.
Yeah.
Happy to.
I'll let Sam take that.
Yeah.
So what we've got is we've got a nine item. Sorry, it's buzzing through my mixer because the phone. But we've got a 9 item menu, and all you do is press right arrow.
Yeah.
Messages 2 of 9. Contacts 3 of 9. More applications 4 of 9. Settings 5 of 9. Status information 6 of 9.
Now that's a very interesting one, because if you press
11:07 a.m. Thursday, the 13th of May 2021, 1 of 5.
and then you can go through all the different statuses and find out what signal strength you've got.
Wi-Fi state connected to. Confirmed guest. Signal strength 50% 4G. Battery state 99% 4 of 5.
And so on.
Status
Yeah.
information 6 of 9.
The other nice thing about it, and unfortunately the Minivision doesn't do this, but if you want to go to, for example, settings is number 5, I happen to know, and as you scroll through,
Settings 5 of 9.
you see it says 5 of 9.
Mhm.
Well, if I go back to
Turn
the
off the
beginning,
phone.
which is
9.
call 1 of 9, and I want to get straight to settings, I can just hit number 5
Settings 5 of 9.
and I'm straight
okay.
there.
Yeah.
And so it's a bit more efficient than the Minivision, I'd say, because the Minivision you have to down 5 times before you can get to that, or whatever. But I think it's quite a nice phone. It's got a beautiful web browser on it. I believe the Minivision doesn't have a web browser. So it's got a web browser. It's got YouTube on it, so you can play YouTube stuff on it.
Mhm.
It's got Google search on it as well. It's also got, if we go into
No
tools,
turn off the phone.
hang on
9
a
of
second.
9. No manual status information.
Oh, it's also got a
6
very
of
good
9.
manual in it as well. So
Manual 7 of 9.
the manual is 7.
Blind Shell Classic.
Essential.
Music Guide, 1 of
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, but the manual's built in. And again, Minivision doesn't have the manual built in, and I think this does help.
No. Well, the Talk software has a manual built in,
Yes.
doesn't it? Talks button and 0.
Yeah, it's describing the phone. Look.
By voice commands. Feedback is provided by the built-in synthetic voice vibrations and additional acoustic signals. 1 of 2.
So it's a very good phone.
Blind
If you don't know how to use it, it's very easy to. And the other thing is, you don't have to hold any buttons down to turn it off. This is unusual. So all
wait,
you,
is this the blind shell?
yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
you
Right.
don't have to hold any buttons down to turn it off. So all you do is press 9,
Turn off the phone. 9 of 9.
press enter,
Do you want to turn off the phone?
press enter,
The phone is now off.
and that's it. So that's
And
the blind shell
is there a
classic.
central sort of joystick control, as it were, that's
Yeah, it's like a
box?
square.
It's just
Yeah,
like your
like
Nokia
the
phone.
right
It's
side
got
or
the
up and down.
it's got the 4-way switch, so
Oh,
it goes
right,
left,
yeah.
right, up and down.
Yes.
And it's, you press the middle for enter and things like that.
Yeah.
And then it's just got the traditional keypad. and it's got answer and end and home and back and volume keys, and that's about all it's got really.
Yeah,
What's quite handy as well is, sorry, I'm just going to put just to say as well, I use it, I use this on a daily basis for work, and what's really handy is it has a voice recorder in there, if you want to dictate a quick, memo to yourself.
Quick notes.
Oh, really?
And you can do typed notes. I could easily dictate a note as well. So it's got quite, it's like a kind of Swiss Army knife for blind people, if you like. If you like the basic kind of keypad and keypad layout, if you like,
Yeah, I like it. I must say, I don't use it. I use the Pixel phone, my own use. But we do sell it, and I do test it, and I do play with it, and they do lots of updates as well, don't they, Stuart? They seem to be updating it all the time.
The internet browser was a big one for me, but again, for you, lads, it all depends on what you want the phone to do. So.
I have a Synaptic tablet. It's all running on a Samsung, and I find it quite good. There's a lot of things I can do on there that I wouldn't be able to do otherwise, I don't think, from this main computer. Sometimes my husband and I both have a Zoom at the same time, in which case he has the main computer and we have to get me on via the Synaptic tablet, which is not so easy. But it's he is sighted, but not so good at spotting things on the screen. What are the JAWS keys for finding? I think somebody told me there's a right pointing triangle when there's a lot of people on a screen or potentially on a screen in a Zoom meeting. What's the JAWS key for getting at the right arrow that's in the top right hand corner? My sighted friends told me.
Well, I have a question for you. Why do you want to get there? Why do you need that right arrow?
Well, because my husband wants to see who's on the other screen. Because sometimes we have Zooms on Sundays for services, church services, and
he wants to see.
You can't see who else is there. I mean, he has to tell me.
Is that the participants panel, Steve? That Liz is, I'm unsure.
Yeah, Alt U then.
It's Alt U, Liz. Yeah.
Alt U.
Alt Q.
Alt U.
Alt U. Alt U.
U. Oh, people. Yes.
Alt U. Yes.
Yeah. Alt U for uniform.
Would you if you were on I'm on a desktop computer at the moment.
Yep.
But that arrow would only be there presumably if there were more people than you could fit on one screen.
No, it's always there. It's even if there's one participant in a meeting, it's always there.
Is it?
Yeah. So try it. Alt U for uniform will open that participants, panel, and Alt U will close it again. That should keep you right there, lads, on that one.
Just to be clear though, Liz, are you wanting just to see the names of what participants are in the meeting, or are you is that what you're trying to achieve?
Well, I just really to know who all's there, because some people were in touch with them in the rest of the week. Some have difficulty getting on to Zoom, more difficulty than I had.
I see.
Despite being able to see, and some just haven't used the technology, but people are gradually having to get there. This last 15, 16 months has been a major learning curve for everybody, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The other tip for you, Liz, and for all JAWS users, and I'm sure Sight and Sound have given this tip loads of times, is if you forget every other keystroke in JAWS, don't forget insert F1. Because insert F1 is application sensitive. So when you're in Zoom, if you press insert F1, it will give you keystrokes for Zoom.
Yes. All right. I wondered whether it was one of these ones where it was insert spacebar and J or something, but I don't seem to do very well doing that. No. So insert an F1.
Yeah.
And when you've got the help screen up, I went to college 12, 13 years ago to learn to use the computer as a blind person, because I was sighted before then. And things change so much all the time. The technology changes, and it's awful job keeping up with things. But it's great to be able to ask questions of people who really know. So I'll have a look at the Computer Room Services website and see what the products are on there.
Yeah, if you have trouble finding it, just give me a ring.
Right.
I don't bite.
And I would have to find your website in order to find your telephone number.
I assume that will go out, will it, Sam?
Yeah, I
Mm.
can pop it. I'll pop it in the chat box now, but I'll drop you an email.
That would be great
Liz,
if you could.
Liz.
Thank you, because I'm not very good at finding. I found the chat box this morning. That's a first. That's a first.
No, well done. No, that's all good. I'll pop Steve's email, the web address for computer room services in the chat box now. But yeah, I'll email you after the session, Liz. No problem.
Sorry, I've asked so
Thanks,
many
Sam.
questions. It's time for somebody else to have a turn.
No,
Well,
no,
that's
I'm
what
glad.
we're here for. So.
Yeah, all useful, and it's questions like that really, sort of. I'm sure lots of other people are interested in the answers to. So it's all good. Thank you, Liz. Thank you. Good. Now we've got Martin and we've got Dorothy who'd like to ask a question. So, Martin, if you want to unmute yourself. There you go. Morning, Martin.
Steve and Stuart. Steve, just wanted to say, really enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you.
I agree with you. I have the Blind Shell Classic mobile phone. I just wanted to tell that lady it's an absolutely fantastic phone. So I really like it.
It's good. It's good. Yeah.
It's very good. Yeah. I used to have the Smart Vision 2, but the Blind Shell is a lot simpler phone.
Yeah.
So I tried the touchscreen, but I do prefer the buttons.
So the buttons on the Blind Shell rather than the yeah. Okay.
By the way, for those that are interested, while we're talking about touch phones, we do have a keyboard, a Bluetooth keyboard called Rivo 2, RIVO2. RIVO stands for Remote Interface to VoiceOver, and it's an iPhone and Android keyboard. It works with both, and it's a T9 keyboard, so it's like a 1 to 9 keyboard, and it's got 4 function buttons on the left and 4 on the right. So if you want to turn your iPhone into a button phone, you can do that as well. And also the Rivo has a speaker, which means you can take phone calls on it without getting the phone out of your pocket. And it also has a headphone jack. And if you plug headphones in, it routes the sound of the iPhone through it. So if you miss the headphone jack, that's another reason to get Rivo as well.
Steve, since Apple updated the software, the Rivo doesn't speak out some of the letters. How do you find that?
I believe Rivo's onto that one. They're always trying to keep up with Apple's breakages, because Apple break things quite often when they update.
And does your Rivo work fine with your Android phone? Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I've used the Rivo with my Android phone, and that works.
No problems.
Pretty good too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because since Apple updated, I used to have the SE Phone 20, but since Apple updated the software, the Rivo doesn't speak out some of the letters when I used to be typing.
Have you got 14.5?
The
latest? Update?
No, I don't have the iPhone now, but I still have the Rivo.
I can say that came out last week, and I think they fixed it.
Oh, so the Rivo works now, does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Apple fixed it.
Okay, so it's working on 14.5 then, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Lovely. Thanks, Martin. Thank you for joining us. And then we've got Dorothy. Morning, Dorothy. You want to unmute yourself? You still there, Dorothy?
Alt A, by the way, for anyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Alternate to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
If you.
There is sometimes a dialogue pops up as well that you need to.
Yeah.
And it's tricky.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Dorothy. We'll come back to you. We've got. We've just got the person here is named RH. How mysterious. RH, if you would like to unmute yourself, ask away. Alternate A. Oh, Dorothy's figured it out. Dorothy's swooped in there.
Am I on now?
You are. Hi, Dorothy.
Yeah.
Hi there. Can I just ask you, Steve, is that, do you know the phone that's similar to the Nokia?
The Blind Shell Classic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it do WhatsApp? Can you download WhatsApp onto it?
No.
No.
It does Telegram, but not WhatsApp.
I'm finding that you've got to book slots for swimming and doing all these things, and they need a WhatsApp thing.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find a phone that I like similar to the Nokia, but there's none that'll download the WhatsApp.
Yeah, again, I'll pass that feedback on, because I've been talking to them and I said they should really have WhatsApp in there. But
And
they
can I
don't at
just
the
say
moment.
another thing?
Mhm.
Why do you always have to have the voice saying every letter? Like the Nokia, you could have it saying every letter or every word.
Now you
Where
can
a lot
change
of the
that.
voices now,
Yeah.
you
You can
cannot. You've got to have it every letter.
No,
And-
no, you can change that in the blind shell.
Can you?
Yep.
Oh, right.
Yep.
So it's the WhatsApp thing that's a problem, because I need a new phone to get me WhatsApp, because you've got to book slots for everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
of
get
course.
you there.
Restaurants and pubs and all sorts.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
The only option I've got for you to do that is to get a smartphone and a Revo.
I'm like Liz, I like to touch the buttons.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you get a smartphone and a Revo keyboard, a Bluetooth
Right.
keyboard, it's a tiny thing. It's about the size of a credit card.
Mhm.
And you connect it to your iPhone or your Android phone, and then it gives you buttons on a touch phone.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about that one.
Yep.
Right. So, but I really want a touch button with the WhatsApp thing on.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't help with that one.
You can make one, Steve.
I could.
We're giving you lots of homework.
You and Chris.
Today. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dorothy. And yeah, thank you for joining us. Steve, are you happy for me to put your email address in the chat box?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is
Because
that all right?
it's all
Yeah.
part of the business, and it's in
Good.
every signature of mine. So
Good.
you know,
There it goes then.
Yeah.
It's
email
sent.
wise.
So for anybody that would like it, I've just put Steve's email address in the chat box.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
do get in touch.
Sam,
Good.
just quickly, I don't know
Yeah.
if Liz is still here, but Liz, if you are, I meant to say that if you have a synaptic tablet already, you know, to reduce the learning curve, you might just want to go to a synaptic phone as well. There's another option that I just thought I would chime in with.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
only-
Thanks, Stuart.
The only thing I would say against that is, if you really like the buttons, it's quite difficult if you can't see to press keys on a call with those things. So when you're actually on a key and it says press 1 to do this or 2 to do that on a call, it's quite difficult sometimes to press keys on a call when you're doing that, unless you can see the keyboard. I mean, I can do it because I can press the keypad button. I do it from muscle memory, but so a lot of blind people do find that quite difficult with any touch screen.
Yeah, it's tricky synaptic, isn't it, for somebody that has zero vision, because it's
It's
fully
designed for
touchscreen.
low vision people rather than no
Yeah.
vision. It's synaptic. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the options to throw in the mix, anybody who's after sort of a middle of the road, we've talked about the mini vision this morning, but the bigger brother is the Smart Vision 2, which is a Android smartphone, but that is tactile as well as you can use voice commands as well to make calls, dictate messages, that sort of thing. So yeah, the Smart Vision 2, if anybody's interested. Good, and I think we've got one more
That would
question.
be the button phone with WhatsApp, wouldn't it? Actually, yeah. you could
Oh,
put
sorry, that
yeah.
Dorothy was.
Dorothy
was.
wanted. Yeah,
Yes.
that would be the phone for Dorothy probably.
Sorry, Dorothy.
Um,
we should have mentioned that earlier, but yeah. So Dorothy, if you are still there, the Smart Vision 2 would allow you to download WhatsApp onto the phone, and it's fully accessible. So it has a built-in screen reader, so everything's read out loud, and you know, it's got tactile keys, but it's a fully functioning smartphone, so you can access any apps that you want from the Play Store. Yeah.
So much choice, isn't there now?
There's a lot we've thrown at you there, but yeah, hopefully.
The only caution I would give about the Smart Vision 2, and Sam will hate me for this, is a really old version of Android.
No,
So
I don't hate you for that, Steve. It's one of
going to
my
get really out of date, and it
bugbears.
already doesn't work with Facebook.
Yeah,
Oh.
and so that is the only downside,
Yeah.
Dorothy, is that it's running Android 6, which is a really old version of Android. But yeah, you know, it's there's a lot to like about it, but yeah, some apps it's having trouble with. I know it struggles with Envision, Stuart.
I know it does.
Interesting.
It,
I don't
it
like.
kicks
Oh, I don't like
me
that.
out of Envision all the time, which is really
Yeah.
frustrating. But
Yes, dear.
anyway,
I'm
yeah,
finding that with more and more apps, and to be honest, that's why I stopped selling it.
yeah, I
Ah,
understand. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's one of my bugbears. They need to update that, but
it's the hardware.
They're not
isn't it?
going to.
It's-
Apparently,
yeah.
I think they're going to bring out an SV3, but
okay, right.
when we don't know.
No. Good, and we're sort of just coming towards the end of our time, everyone. But we've got a little bit time for John to ask a question, and then I've got a few announcements before we finish. So I'll unmute John, or I'll ask John to unmute himself. Hi, John.
Hiya, how you doing? You okay?
Good.
Hi,
Thanks for
Steve.
joining.
Good to speak to you again. It's been ages
Yeah, you too, John.
since the since the last London exhibition, I think,
I
a
believe
couple
so.
of years
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
You were saying about a lot of people were talking about dealing with touchscreens. I know you probably still sell them. The speed dots overlays.
We do, yes.
I'm probably going to get one soon for the iPhone 8, which also is equivalent to the SE20 because it's the same size.
Yeah.
That is one option a lot of people can use. I find them very, very handy, particularly the rotor.
Oh, yeah.
I find that rotor can be a bit of a nightmare, but where you've got little dots
we-
around the rotor area, it's quite complicated.
Thanks for that, John. We haven't mentioned speed dots.
No.
They're actually a tactile overlay that sticks to the screen. It's like a screen protector with a tactile overlay on it, and it's not Braille. You don't have to know Braille. It's just dots in strategic places on the phone.
Oh,
Certain
great.
icons, aren't they? And
Yeah.
there's two versions. You've got the advanced, which just gives you a couple of letters, and there's the standard one, which gives you all your alphabet apart from your what we used to call the home
John,
keys.
you're out of date. There's 3 layouts now. There's
Is there
phone
3
layout
layouts now?
as
Is it?
well. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
what's
Think
the
I-
other one? I haven't bought one for some time, so I need John.
So the phone layout one is just for dots pertaining to the call screen, like 1 to 0 and star and hash. If you know where everything else is, but you just need a layout for the phone so you can
Okay.
press numbers on calls. That's what they've done that for.
Oh, for like tone dialing is like pressing 1 for this and all that
Yes.
when you want to call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's annoying. That sometimes.
Yeah.
But then the Revo 2 would cover that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would cover it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to try that. But no, I think summing all this up, I think the good thing is, particularly on the phone market, I know a number of people have mentioned this before, I think the great thing is now there's none of this them plus them anymore. It's all about buying a phone that works, that's accessible straight from the box.
Yes.
I think that's the thing to celebrate rather than one versus the other. That I think that's all gone now.
What I say about that, John, is that Android and Apple now is a lifestyle choice, not an accessibility
No,
choice, which
exactly.
is really good.
It's someone might prefer the other. It's irrelevant what they prefer.
Yeah.
I think they're both on a par now, and the good thing is you can just buy a phone from anywhere.
In fact, my lovely engineer Chris, he said to me, both operating systems suck. You just got to find the one that sucks least for you.
Yeah. Well, that's a very thing.
That's a sales pitch if ever I've heard one. Dave.
What I put in the chat earlier on about people who get phones and then having trouble with setting them up. I do this. I only use iTunes for this purpose, just for doing encrypted backup, meaning all your passwords are carried over on a new phone. It saves so much hassle doing encrypted backups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
I set up an iPhone 8 a few weeks ago in a matter of about a few hours.
Yeah.
Just by doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they both have the same. Google does the same. So you've got encrypted backups.
Yeah, I think
and you
it's
just
good to do
restore
that
it
as
from the
well.
cloud and things like that.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, thank you, John. Appreciate you. You joining us.
I mean, and on the computer issue, Steve, it's over 5 years now since you came here and set this up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I still remember that day when Emma was here. Gosh, yeah, it's 5 years ago now, and it's still working. So
yeah, well, that's good. Emma's now Debbie.
Yeah, I know. I've actually met Debbie, so that's no problem.
Yeah, you haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I have met her. Yeah, but I hope there will be a London side for this because although it's been a tricky, should we say, year and a half, there's been a lot of tech within that time. That hasn't slowed down. There's been a lot of new tech and a lot of tech issued, and it'd be good to actually go and see it.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing a lot of people are looking for. It's all very well having all this tech, but actually going to see it and having it demonstrated.
That's the thing
I think
about the
that's going to
Navi
be the
belt,
plus,
you
isn't
know,
it?
when I demonstrate the Navi belt for the Sight and Sound webinar, I thought, how the hell do you demonstrate something that vibrates over a voice medium?
I know.
You know, it's quite difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. And on the Revo 2, I think, Steve, you mentioned this on one of your podcasts a while back. Dave Woodbridge's podcast on the Revo 2.
Yes.
He's
really good.
I think everyone should subscribe to it. He does so much.
He does some really good podcasts.
He does some incredible podcasts. I mean, there's so many podcasts that I've heard over lockdown, all from different organisations. Like there's Canadialog. They've actually stopped theirs now. Canada Dialogue it comes up as from the Canadian Association. They do a lot of stuff or have done. There's a lot of podcasts, like techie podcasts for VI users out there. There's a wealth. It's incredible what there actually is now.
Yeah.
But actually going to see it, that's going to be the biggest thing once we're all able to again.
Yeah.
You want to plug your podcast, Stuart Berridge?
Oh, what's this one?
It's all about the Envision glasses. Actually,
Is it?
And interestingly, it's called Smart Vision. Now I know there is obviously the Smart Vision phone, but you know, it was the only thing I could think of that was you know, easy to remember. So it's called Smart Vision, and there's 5 episodes up at the moment. It's all about using the Envision glasses from you know, my perspective as a user. So it goes through everything from unboxing the glasses to, you know, setting them up and charging them, sleep mode, etc. There should be another episode up either end of this week or next week about using the gestures to navigate the main menu and the layout of the menu structure, etc. So as I say, all about the Envision glasses. It's going to be running for at least a year, and it's available on all different, you know, anywhere you could find.
It's available on the stream then, is it?
A podcast. Yep. So if you want to listen to more of my dulcet tones all about how much I love the Envision glasses,
I think I've already
subscribe to the podcast.
Great. Oh, this is good. We've got lots of material for you know, to get us off to sleep just before bed. Get a podcast
I
in.
shall dip into that, Stuart.
Yeah,
for
good.
insomnia.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you, John, for joining us.
No problems.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Good. So we've got, well, we've run over, but RH is still, let's see if we can get back to you, RH, just to ask your question. And then we'll,
Hi.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
We can now, yes. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. I was on my desktop and it crashed.
No.
So I'm now up on the iPhone. So first of all, can I just say what an absolutely fantastic session, and you know, to everyone, and absolutely so full of information. And please don't stop the social hubs. Huge vote. And by the way, it's Raina Haig here. It was one of those moments when entering my full name was just, I was dictating it, I couldn't do it, and I just put RH.
Hey, that's fine. I like the
I'm sure
mystery.
everyone will understand. There are those moments when it's just, you just go, oh my God, what's the quickest way to do this?
Yeah. Good. Enough.
It was a blind moment. So, basically, absolutely brilliant. And also to Steve Nutt, that I hope, you know, definitely going to be getting in touch about various things. And
hi, Raina. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, Stephen. And is there any reason that is there any way you could just give us your number over the air, or is that just?
Of course, yeah. It's 01438
01438
74 22 86.
Yep. Now, thank you so much, and I will definitely be in touch. And various things, but I wanted to just throw a question out there. So I am basically I've got about, you know, very small percent of site, you know, 1.5%. I use JAWS with Zoom text, but I don't read from Zoom. I mean, I'm heavily a JAWS user basically, and I use Zoom text for navigation. Right, I want to ask this. For the last 4 years, with all sorts of mishaps and ups and downs and everything, but persevering, I have been doing cryptocurrency investing.
Oh,
yes.
I want to talk to you about this, then.
Yes, and so I haven't. So, and I am absolutely just desperate to talk to. Sorry, I've got voiceover on. It's speaking out to me. So I am desperate to speak to somebody from the tech, because the access, obviously it's an emerging area, but I can't begin to tell you the access issues. So I'm sort of distressed because it means that so many visually impaired people are kind of locked out of what is, it's hugely important, I think, to be aware of it and to be able to have the access choice. So that's that. So I've got a lot of experience in terms of just how it, what's happening in the area, but tech-wise, oh my God, the risks that I take. And I have actually, I've had 3 bad mishaps just because of for access reasons. So that's the one thing. But in relation to that, I'm just wondering whether what route to go down. I get access to work, good. I'm on high level of access to work support, so I've got sort of that resources behind me, and I am looking for a way of getting better access to charts. Charts, money market, the charts, and using graphs and charts basically, with using JAWS.
Okay.
So that's so I'm just putting it out there that I am here with that considerable experience now, but kind of on a little island all on my own. I used to be, because I was a filmmaker for a long time, I used to be very sort of teched up. But the last few years I did something else, and I've been so busy just trying to run my business that I've lost a lot of my, I'm totally out of date, touch, run on minimal, tech just to get the jobs done. So I'm kind of at the beginning of a sort of, re-entering and hopefully, on various fronts. So that's
I can certainly help you, Raina, if need be, on accessibility to websites, and if they're not accessible, I can feed back to the developers in a meaningful way. What I mean by that, in programmers speak, rather than just your website doesn't work. So if I can help in that way, the best way to do that, if we touch base, is
I'm going to definitely call you and talk about that podcast, the sound recording and general potential support package. So
of course, but I mean, fantastic. If I can help with that, then I'm basically, what I would do is I'd probably log into your computer and watch what you're doing, so I can hear what JAWS is doing, and then we can see where your pain points are, and if we can improve them, if you know what I mean.
Yep, and I'm totally here as well for anybody. If anybody wants to, know anything or got any questions around. I mean, I can't. Again, the access issues are the access issues with which we're familiar with third parties. But just in terms of general crypto questions, I've put more than my toe in the water.
I definitely am interested in that, so I might touch base with you as well.
Yeah, do. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So, and please keep, and also, I just wanted, the last thing I wanted to say was, whoever it was just now, because I was just putting the phone on, was talking about all the podcasts that have been around, and just be very helpful, I think, at some point, just to review maybe what tech podcasts there are and who does what, and that would be, I'd find that really helpful.
Definitely, we'll certainly we'll come put our heads together, won't we, Stuart? And because I know Clubhouse is another sort of big moving force at the moment,
and it's on Android now. Wahoo!
Excellent, yeah. Which is Clubhouse is a great way of sort of discussing well
I'm
anything and
using it to
everything, but
promote-
it's a good
Yeah, I mean,
platform.
I
for this
use
sort
it
of
to
thing.
promote my. I mean, if you use it in the right way, it's like any social media. If you use it in the right way, what a vehicle for
Yeah,
you know, visually impaired people. So I mean, it has its ups and downs. I think it's like it feels to me like a cross between Twitter and Zoom. Clubhouse, but you know, the great thing is it's all audio. The tricky thing is at the moment getting on there, because somebody has to let you in that's already you know, in Clubhouse, as I had to do with yourself, Sam. But yeah, it's definitely you know, I think me and you could do a lot on it actually, Sam, and Steve as well, you know, maybe going forward. I don't know if you use it yet, Steve, but
I've just got onto it. I haven't actually tried using it yet. So I might talk to you about it.
certainly.
See, I've got a lot of talking to do.
yeah, definitely.
If it would help on the podcast front, Sam, I could, I mean, it's not extensive, I'm afraid, but I could send you a list of all the tech ones I'm subscribed to, that there's so many of them out there, but if it would help, I could send you a list of different
Yeah, there are millions of podcasts, aren't there?
That's the problem. You'd only be getting.
We can add that to our
Everyone
mailing
and his
list.
dog does a podcast nowadays.
yeah. But we can add those tech podcasts to our mailing list, so if anybody's interested.
But we've been podcasting since 2005.
Wow. Were they called podcasts then, or was that like?
Yes, they were. Yeah, they were. No, they were podcasts.
Oh,
because
were they?
Apple termed the phrase. Yeah, that was before even people knew about it. What's a podcast? You know.
Well, I've only going 5 weeks, so you know, that seems like a lot.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Raina. It sounds like there's you know, there's lots lots of collaboration there, I'm sure. So that's great.
And just lastly on the podcast, my response to what you've just been saying is that's why it'd be so helpful to have a review, because there are so many, and sometimes, you know, they suddenly don't exist anymore, or just what they do, and it would just be it would be great if somebody was, you know, like to do, you know, top 10, somebody's top 10, somebody's top 5, you know, for whatever reason. So it's not necessarily, you know, it's just somebody's opinion of what they find useful. Be very helpful.
I wonder if we could do a future webinar on this, Sam.
Ideas, they're all growing now. So yeah, no, this is good. This is all good. I'm just writing that down on my notepad. Good. All right, we'll review that. Thank you, Raina.
Can I just quickly say, Raina, as well, thank you very much for the feedback, because we don't get enough of it, do we, Sam? So it's really good to hear that people are enjoying it, and it just encourages me, at least, and I know it well as you as well, Sam. It encourages us to, we don't need any, but you know, it gives us that incentive. You know, we know that they're doing great, and that they're popular, and it just keeps us going, doesn't it, Sam?
Definitely.
Well, really need it. You know, I think I'm typical probably of lots of people. You know, I'm living on my own and working from home, and you know, it's just you know, you get demoralized and you get isolated and you get out of the loop, and you get, you know, you start withdrawing, and really your sessions I've found, you know, that such as the ones I've been able to attend, honestly, they've really kept me going. So thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Raina. Good. Okay, everyone. Wow, that was this is what I love about the social BC. You sort of just plant a seed and you see where it grows.
Watch
and
it grow.
there you go. And obviously that seed started with Steve. So thanks so much, Steve. That was really, honestly, it's brilliant to have like a veteran of the industry to come and, you know, share your fountain of knowledge with us. It's really it's brilliant, and we really appreciate you giving up your time. So thank you.
I hope it's been useful, because
definitely.
I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about, you know, because there's so many things that we do, you know, and I do sleep occasionally. And,
I was going to say,
I'd like to say thank you to Sam and Stuart for allowing me the opportunity to talk on here. Thanks to everyone for the great questions, and goodbye.
Excellent. Back in your cave. Go on. No, brilliant. Thanks so much, Steve. And it's obviously there's been so much, a lot of, you know, a brilliant response to your to what you're doing, the great work that you're doing at Computer Room Services. So anyone and everybody who's still with us, I know that lots of people have to drop off and go back to work and do other things. Oh, looks like Steve's
It's
already
all right,
got.
Yeah.
He's already got lots of interest. People calling him. If you need any more information, if you need, I've put Steve's number and his email address in the chat box. But if you're not able to access it for whatever reason, please just get in touch with me, with Stuart, with Sight and Sound, and we can signpost you towards Steve in whichever ways necessary. Just before I wrap up, I've got some important things just to flag for you. Sight and Sound have got a couple of events happening. So on May the 20th, which is next Thursday, next Thursday, May the 20th, is Global Accessibility Awareness Day, and we've got a coffee and a chat session happening, which our very own Stuart Lawler will be running. So this is celebrating the 10th Global Accessibility Awareness Day. And the whole purpose of this is to get everyone talking, thinking and learning about digital access and inclusion. So please do, if you're free, next Thursday, the 10:30, you can join Stuart and the team, and there'll be a panel of people talking about technology and digital accessibility. And if you do need a registration links for that session, you'll find them either on our website or our Facebook, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., all our social media platforms. Again, if you're struggling, just call us and we can forward you the registration links. Good. So that's Global Accessibility Awareness Day. Also, Stuart is running our regular webinar Wednesday sessions as normal, and they run on alternate weeks to the Social Hub. So next Thursday afternoon will be the next Wednesday afternoon will be the next webinar Wednesday, and this one's actually quite interesting. I'm really interested to know about this one. It's quite different to any that they've done before, but this one is named Reflections and Reconnections. So this is all about sort of now that we're coming out of the pandemic, how has it affected us, but tools that we can use, or people in the not just who are visually impaired either, but anyone and everybody can use these tools to sort of reflect and to learn from, or to move on from how the pandemic has affected us. But Stuart has actually invited a Reiki practitioner called Melanie Leamy. She's a Reiki practitioner, and she is going to be talking and discussing her work. And she's got a lot of experience about working with clients of all ages, but specifically bereavement support, grief and bereavement support for people living with life-limiting illnesses, and people who find themselves in the role of a carer of a loved one with a terminal illness as well. So Melanie's going to be taking the group through some meditation exercises and talking about her work as well. So it's all about sort of how COVID and possibly the pandemic has affected us, and how we can move forward in a mindful way. So that's quite an interesting session. And then last thing to mention, on the 27th is our next Social Hub session, so that'll be the week after next. Myself, Stuart, we're going to be talking all things Sky Q. So we're going to be looking at the new Sky Q voice feature, which allows you to navigate through your Sky TV guides, all the menus, etc., using the built-in voice feature. So myself and Stuart Beveridge will be demonstrating that, and we're hoping that we're joined by somebody from Sky and accessibility, somebody from the accessibility team as well. That's not confirmed yet, but fingers crossed. Good. Sorry to put all of that sort of on you right at the end of the session, but it's all important stuff. So thank you again, everybody, for being here. Please do let us know if you have any questions. Steve, me, Stuart, whoever it might be, and we'll do anything and everything we can to help you. These sessions are all about giving you the tools, the information, the resources that you need to benefit from either the technology that you're using, or that you'd like to learn more about and use in the future. So thank you all, and finally, thanks Stuart Beveridge.
Thanks again, Sam. Really enjoyed it as always, and I'll see everybody in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, thanks so much, Stuart. And finally, thanks again, Steve. Great to have you, and
Cheers, thank you.
we'll see you soon. Okay, take care, everyone. Stay safe, and we'll see you all very soon.